Yo.
What up, tribe? Thank you for joining me again. Chief Keith in the house, bringing you another lyrical breakdown where I break down one of my songs. The way I do this, I don't sit down and like prepare for, you know, to make it seem like I was writing about certain things or whatever. I literally, like, straight from listening to video, I listen to the song, and most of these songs I haven't heard for a really long time. But I do my best to just listen to the song with you in real time and then explain where my head was at that time, if I can even remember. That's basically the way this works. And I made a post on Facebook asking supporters which one of my songs they would like me to do a lyrical breakdown for. And this was the first song that got brought to my attention, and I think it's really cool. It's off my first album that I've ever made, and that album is called Alan vs. Simon. Check it out right here. You can get it. Hit me up if you want one. They're free. If you come get it, or if I have to mail it to you, it'll cost you the shipping or whatever. But I didn't make any money off that album. I just gave it to the people. But it's a concept album, and the person wanted me to do a lyrical breakdown for the last song on the album, which is like the song that I think kind of brought it all together. So it's going to be kind of hard for me to lyrically break it down without talking about the other songs, but I'm going to try my best to not do that, because then it might ruin the rest of the album for you if you haven't listened to it. So without further ado, let's check this song out, and let me know in the comments if you guys like the lyrical breakdown or what song you would like me to do next.
Yo, see, life ain't been that bad. I'm just a rebel without a cause, just a man without a sack, too busy to relax.
So in that first section there, those first couple bars, I really wanted to start the song off with reasons that I'm grateful, or pertaining to ways that I'm grateful. So that's why I started the song off with life ain't been that bad. I'm just a rebel without a cause, just a man without a sack. And a lot of times I think people were perceiving a man without a sack meaning like I have no balls. Not the case. Not the case at all. Definitely have balls. The man without a sack line was referring to a change in state of mind and physical regard, as far as I had put weed down. I had stopped selling weed. I had stopped growing it. I just put down the sack altogether.
Too many moving parts. I'm ready to step back, invested into the arts.
I'm ready to take the skills that I learned and the skill sets that I have up to that point in time, and I'm ready to finally invest it into my music, because for so long that's what I wanted to pursue, and that's what I wanted to do, was my music. But I felt like I never really gave it my all, so I felt like I was finally in a state of mind or a place where I could start really pushing for this dream of mine.
Man, I ain't lacking the passion. I'ma wreak havoc like see magic in action. I'm Chief Man.
I think a lot of people underestimate me. I think a lot of people sleep on me. I think some people even might think I'm like a little bit corny or something. But that's the way it is when you're trying to do something different, when you're not riding waves, you know what I mean? I really like the idea of looking at what's out there and using that to go against the grain and go against that, or be parallel to it in a different dimension, you know what I mean? So just trying to bring that aspect to light there is pretty cool.
Right before your eyes, you've been hypnotized. They be telling lies, but isn't everybody telling lies? Isn't everybody telling lies? Telling lies to themselves. Isn't everybody telling lies? Isn't everybody telling lies to themselves?
Isn't anybody telling lies to themselves? I really wanted to say something there. I remember when I wrote that and I was like, I really want to say something that hits home right here. And really makes people think. People lie to themselves, you know, in lots of ways. You know what I mean by that, and I don't really have to go into explaining that.
I've been broke, it's no joke. I cope still with no pills. I've grown ill, the soul heals. In time I have come to find rhythm and rhyme was all mine. It was all my perception.
So I really loved that line when I wrote it because I used to, it's funny the way I say that. I used to have bipolar and depression. For me it was situational, and I took pills for that. I took bipolar medications. So I was just basically wanting to talk about how like I had put that down and I found a way to heal myself naturally. And one of the best medicators for me has been my music or other people's music, and that's why I love music so much.
The word perception is used in social transaction as my perception versus your perception. That means my distortion versus your distortion. The word perception is not supposed to have anything to do with a particular individual. Perception means to be able to grasp what's there the way it is. If reality enters you without distortion, that's proper perception. Rest is distortion.
So that part was really important. I know on this album I used a lot of excerpts from like different things to help portray the idea that I was going for or just evoke thought. And this was like a perfect one because I tell people that all the time, you know, that perception isn't supposed to be based on a personal like point of view. Proper perception is based on fact, on reality, the way things actually are, and perceiving is just you seeing reality. It's not supposed to be something that's different for every person. That's like they say in the excerpt, that's distortion, that's not perception. So I wanted to talk about that because I thought it was a big idea that people needed to hear.
Walking to and fro on this planet of mine, abandoned time and appetite for lavish nights. Slip on my night, slip out the door. Only God knows what I'm looking for and where to find it. It's good time.
So in the album I talk about God a lot, actually. I talk about different sometimes contradicting ideas on what God is or what God could be. And I'm not necessarily creating my own God. I'm just simply creating a character with the album, and then the times that I mention God, I'm bringing God out in the way that it's suitable to that moment in the person's life or whatever, in that part of the album. So it kind of creates its own God, but really there's an idea of what God is throughout the whole album, and I think once you listen to it, you know what that is, and you get it. So that was just a reference to the whole album in itself.
Cause like Osiris, I'm weighing my gale. The silver lining is in the building. I can feel you when you ain't said nothing.
Cause like Osiris, I'm weighing my gale. So like Osiris obviously was like the god of the scales, and the way that Osiris would operate was he would weigh the scales of your life based on your own guilt pertaining to like a karmic value. So that's basically just touching on what Osiris is. The silver lining is in the build. That's basically talking about the perfection of this life, the Goldilocks enigma, you know what I mean? Like how everything is suited so perfectly, and the universe works with you if you work with it. And there are certain things that philosophers have passed down, and religious people or prophets have passed down through the ages that are keys. They are keys to help you in working with the universe to create the life that you want, or the existence that you want. Because for all we know, you know, we may only get this once, but we have over hundreds of thousands of years, however long humans have existed. Over that time, my freaking washer's done. Dude. So over that time, those hundreds of thousands of years, we passed down the knowledge that we've learned as a species on how to work with the universe and be in tune with that, so that way the universe can help you. Because it's hard to explain, but it really is, it's a part of you and you're a part of it. And if you're out of touch with that, or you're disconnected from the universe and the world will work against you, and it makes your life really hard. So the silver lining is in the build is like just realizing that everything that you need is cosmically inside you and cosmically connected to you, and you can shift that. And it is like magic, but I'm not saying that it just happens like magic. There's lots of things that you have to do, and you have to practice, and you have to live that life. You can't just change for a moment and expect your whole life to change. You have to change your whole life.
I'm overstanding what's nothing is something.
That's just, again, like this whole album is trying to get out like this big thoughts, because they trivialize me at times, where and sometimes they get me stuck because I get too in my own head. But when you think about the universe and things like that, you come to the conclusion that it's hard to believe that we're here. And if you really went back far enough, you would have to realize that everything came from nothing, and what that means. And that's hard for people to grasp. Like, even me saying that right now and you hearing that, you're like, you don't even think about it. You don't even think about it. But if you do think about it, that's what had to have happened. How can there be anything from nothing? That's the grand mystery. So that was just trying to evoke thought, you know.
Little bit good, little bit bad, missing math class, act like I'm mad cause I am. Can't add, subtract from the plan when I ran. Sad life, understand. I just really wanna understand.
So there I was just trying to like portray or bring out like the young me, or like the young everyone, you know, when you're a child and you're young, and you don't understand, and you just want to understand. You want to understand what it is to be. You want to understand like what people are trying to teach you. And I feel like 90% of the time what the world is teaching us is the exact opposite of what we should be learning as humans to exist. And I'm saying that we should be separated from like what the world is today. Like people don't think about existence in that way. We just exist, you know. But I feel like if we all thought about it and we made decisions for ourselves as a species and as a planet and as a whole, that we could have a much better grasp and way of life, you know, where everyone was on the same page. If we taught the basics of things that we know. I feel like there's a lot to it though, and there's a lot of research, and that'll probably never happen. So I'm just a person that's, you know, just trying to evoke thought like one person at a time through my music. So
when the mood gets to sitting in, rules never end. Truth transcends any mental intent. Lay in bed forever, never get up. I'm giving up, what if we all gave up?
So I'm saying, like, when you're a young person and you have your whole life in front of you, it can be overwhelming, especially in this day and age. And we have more suicides in young people than ever before. And nobody seems to really, I mean, there are people that do studies on it, but I feel like there's a deeper reasoning behind it that is too far gone for us to fix unless we make like drastic changes. But I don't see those changes happening anytime soon, because we would just have to live completely different than what we do now. It's kind of sad.
Cause like Osiris, I'm weighing my gale. The silver lining is in the building. I can feel you when you ain't said nothing. I'm overstanding what's nothing to something.
So, in a way, what you're doing is to be able to effectively distort their perception, mine too, for a period of time. And this is fine, it's wonderful because it intrigues and fascinates everyone, entertains everyone. As you're a stand-up magician, if I can call you that. It's very important that the young people should bring this into their life, that you don't look up to anything, nor do you look down on anything. You don't suck up to anything, nor do you spit on anything. Just learning to accept life as it is. This is perception. Seeing the reality just the way it is. If you look at life just the way it is, you will see every leaf in this tree is unique. Every human being sitting here is unique. Every little thing in the existence is absolutely unique. If you experience the uniqueness of life, it'll never get old for you, nor will you get old for this world.
That messes me up. I haven't heard that for a long time. That's my message that I want to send to people, is to just be and just live and create happiness for yourself and others around you. Don't look down on things and don't talk down on things and think down on things, but also don't hold things in high regard. Just be and see what this existence is and just enjoy it, you know? That's what this song means to me. So this has been another lyrical breakdown by Chief Keith. The song is Osiris Part 2. Alas We See, from my album Alan vs. Simon. Oh man, the glare on that is terrible. There, now you can see it. But yeah, hit me up if you want that. Also, let me know what you thought of this lyrical breakdown, what things I can do to make the breakdowns better or more entertaining, or what songs you would like me to break down next. All my links are in the description below. Thank you guys so much for listening in, and please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Subscribe most importantly, because I'm trying to get those subscribers up. Thank you guys. Peace.